If you've been scrolling through endless launch monitor options, watching video after video trying to figure out which one actually gives you the data you need without turning your garage into a lab, you're not alone. The market is full of devices that promise pro-level accuracy but then require a ton of extra gear or a subscription that eats into your budget. I've spent the last few weeks setting up the Foresight Sports GCQuad in both an indoor simulator room and a backyard hitting area, just to see if the hype matches the day-to-day reality. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the GCQuad is built around 4 high-resolution cameras that capture the ball and club from multiple angles. That means you get a full picture of launch angle, spin, club head speed, and even face angle in one seamless package. The big selling point here is that there's no extra hardware you need to buy or mount, just the unit itself, a power source, and a place where the ball can fly freely. In my indoor tests, I could set it up on a standard hitting mat and it started delivering data in under a minute. The cameras handle low light conditions surprisingly well, so you don't have to wait for perfect daylight to get reliable numbers. Now, let's talk about the practical side of using a launch monitor that claims to work both indoor and outdoor. In my garage, the GCQuad's footprint is modest enough to fit in a 10 by 12 foot space, but you still need to clear a decent amount of headroom for the club swing and a safe net for the ball. Once that's sorted, the system spits out ball flight data that you can feed directly into popular swing analysis software without any extra adapters. I tried it on a breezy Saturday afternoon on the patio, and the cameras filtered out wind-induced motion blur just fine, giving me consistent spin rates that matched what I saw on the range. That kind of flexibility is a real time saver if you're juggling between indoor practice during winter and outdoor sessions in spring. Who should consider spending the money on the GCQuad? If you're a serious golfer who's already working with a coach, a club fitter, or you run an indoor golf facility, the depth of data you get is worth the investment. The system records not only ball metrics but also club head data, which lets you diagnose swing faults that are invisible to the naked eye. For example, I could see a subtle lag in my driver's release that was causing a slice, and after a few drills the club face angle corrected itself. That level of insight is something the average weekend golfer rarely needs, but for a competitive player or a teaching pro it can be a game changer. On the flip side, if you're just looking to track basic stats like drive distance or want a quick way to see how far you're hitting on a lazy Sunday, the GCQuad might feel like overkill. The price point is firmly in the professional range, and while you don't need a subscription to unlock the core data, the learning curve for interpreting all those numbers can be steep. Beginners often find themselves staring at graphs of spin axis and launch conditions without a clear path to translate that into actionable changes. In that scenario, a simpler, more affordable launch monitor that gives you distance and club speed without the extra club face data could be a better fit. The strengths of the GCQuad really shine when you need consistency across environments. The 4-camera setup eliminates the need for a separate launch pad, which many competitors require. Because the cameras are fixed, there's less chance of misalignment after you move the unit, meaning the data stays reliable over months of use. Also, the fact that it captures both ball and club data in the same frame saves you the hassle of syncing 2 separate devices, a common headache with other high-end monitors. In my experience, the data latency is low enough that you can see results on the screen almost instantly, which keeps the practice flow smooth. But there are a few practical drawbacks you should be aware of before you hit buy. The unit is fairly heavy, so moving it between indoor and outdoor locations isn't as effortless as dragging a tablet-sized gadget. You'll also need a decent internet connection if you plan to use the optional cloud-based analysis tools, and those services are extra. Finally, while the cameras are precise, they do require a clear line of sight to the ball. Any stray objects or a cluttered hitting area can cause missed frames, which forces you to reset and reshoot. Those little annoyances add up if you're setting up in a cramped space. Bottom line, the Foresight Sports GCQuad delivers on its promise of accurate, comprehensive data for both ball and club, and it does so without the tangle of extra hardware. If you're a dedicated golfer, a coach, or a facility owner who needs reliable numbers in multiple settings, the value you get from the richness of the data outweighs the higher price tag and the modest,